That's the amazing thing about metal, not just steel, is it's like 100% recyclable.
Getting a second chance to cut. Historic saw blades that help build the Canadian prairies are getting a new life after being upcycled into one-of-a-kind chef's knives. Circular saw blades that milled timber in the 1850s are being transformed into Japanese-style kitchen knives more than 100 years later. The Manitoba craftsman behind the venture says the century-old saw blades were made with some of the best metal for fabricating knives because they can hold their sharp edge.
They're high carbon steel, so not any old saw blade is good enough, like especially modern saw blades. They're mostly mild steel with hard carbide tips on the teeth that make them good for cutting. But the old sawmill blades, they made them all high carbon through and through.
Mark Liss finds beauty in transforming the old rusty saw blades into something new. Each saw blade has its own unique history, which Liss says enhances the character of the knives by allowing the metal to live on as a new tool in new hands, which is much preferred to throwing the saw blades away or melting them down for scrap.
They were used, they had an entire life on some farm or in some mill somewhere, being used as a certain type of tool, and then they were kind of forgotten about for years. But the quality of the steel within them didn't degrade, and it's nice to be able to give them that new life.
Liss cuts the saw blades into long strips and then determines the size of each knife. He heats and forges the blade blanks into shape before grinding and quenching them, making the high carbon steel extremely hard. The handles for each knife are made from locally sourced wood and recycled oak whiskey barrels.
It's like the best quality oak you can find. It's like tight grain, just very hard wood. And we've mixed that with Manitoba maple, which is a tree that everyone has seen. It's everywhere here on the prairies. It's everywhere across Canada.
Liss says the recycled steel is of such high quality that with proper care and storage, these saw blade made kitchen knives will be capable of cutting for generations. And because they're not made with stainless steel, the look of them will evolve over time.
You can see the history of just your use on it. And when you pass it on to your children or your grandchildren kind of thing, they're going to see that history of use that you've had and that like whole relationship that you've had with a knife.
In Winnipeg, Mark Neufeld, City News.
In 1 minute on City News.